Folks, welcome back to a football video. We haven't done this in a few weeks. Martin, did you have a good Cheltenham?
I did, Ryan. I had a fantastic Cheltenham. It was great. We had some fantastic racing. It was a shame we couldn't get there. It was a shame we weren't allowed on the track. But I think racing wise, I think we saw some of the best racing we've seen for a long time. It's just a shame from the UK point of view that the Irish kind of mopped up and pretty much won everything going. But fair play to them. I think Henry de Bronhead had a fantastic week. I know he's been on your show on the horse racing side, and I think he's coming back on again. And I think that just shows how strong the racing is in Ireland at the moment. I think the four days showed that clearly.
Yeah, there was domination, really, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But the only thing Ireland are good at, because they have no luck anywhere else. Especially now football, which is what the topic of this video is about. And we will start as per usual with, well, we're going to do two teams each, are we, this week?
Yeah, why not? Yep.
Yeah. I am going down the international route this week, Martin, because why not? And first, I am going for a team that was shockingly beat last time, the Netherlands. They got beat 4-2 by Turkey, which was, to me, it was a huge shock. I thought Netherlands would have been certainly to beat Turkey. I think they'll bounce back easily against Latvia. In fairness, they have the caliber of player there to do it comfortably, and I am gonna go for Netherlands at -1. I know it's a short price, but I'm gonna make up for it in my second pick. I'm gonna go for Norway in the second pick. Norway to beat Turkey, who beat the Netherlands. Norway brushed Gibraltar aside very easily. Didn't have to get out of second gear at all. And look, Erling Haaland he's special, isn't he?
Yeah.
I really do believe he can guide Norway to the World Cup this time. And yeah, look, I think 7-5 is a great price for Norway to beat Turkey.
No, I think you're absolutely right. I think the Turkey result was definitely a weird sort of start to the group, and it kind of opens that group up a little bit. And makes it a bit more interesting, I guess. Turkey are always one of them sides, seem to be on the edge of things. They're not good enough to win things, but they do seem to get in people's face and cause problems. But rarely do they keep doing it every other game. So, yep, I expect Netherlands to come back, win comfortably, and the Norway shout is a great shout again. Turkey will be full of confidence and all the rest of it, and maybe run into a difficult Norway side and give themselves some problems. So yeah, a nice couple, and again a nice little change, a little bit of -1 there to add that little bit of value for you. So yeah, I mean, any other results pop out at you this week from the World Cup qualifiers there?
Any other ones pop out? England, actually, I thought England would have won that by a lot more. They weren't overly impressive. But I suppose, again, they didn't really have to be. Were you impressed with England?
No, but England played, their second and third string.
Yeah.
It wasn't, people like the guy up front, the Everton guy, Calvert-Lewin. He's not a Harry Kane. We had a lot of chances. We could have scored more goals. I mean, Jesse Lingard's had a poor season. He's had a poor couple of years. Yeah, he's gone to West Ham and he's played quite well for a couple of games. But he wouldn't be in my first England 11 for sure. And for him to get man of the match, and he didn't, he didn't score. He had chances to score, and there was I think the Italian the keeper plays in the Italian third division, and isn't it even in the starting lineup?
But look, Jesse Lingard missed some amount of chances there. He should have easily had 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah, and he was given man of the match. So how does that? So what does that tell you about the side? Yeah, of course we were expected to win. We won 5-0. We probably should have won 10-0. I think Scotland beat them 6-0, and they are ranked the worst side in the world.
Yeah.
So no, it wasn't overly impressive, I'm afraid. But again, it's about winning games of football and getting points, isn't it? And qualifying. And I don't think there's anything in the group, in England's group specifically, that's going to give them any problems. They'll win the group quite comfortably as they should do, and they'll progress. And then it will be all about what happens at the tournament there in Qatar. So we'll wait and see.
I do genuinely believe England will win the Euros this year.
Do you?
Yeah, I genuinely do believe it.
We don't win anything. Yeah.
I know, yeah, but
flattered to just see you fall away.
And me as an Irish person, I shouldn't like to see it. But no, I just think he's probably the best squad. Maybe not the back line, but everywhere else on the pitches are so stacked with good players.
I think the issue the English side has and always does have is we don't have many players that have won much at high level. And if you look at the Spanish side that hadn't won anything, and then they won the Euros, and then they won the World Cup, and then they won the Euros, and the French did a similar thing, and the Germans do a similar thing. They get into a habit of being able to win, and they know how to go out and win. And I think as an England fan looking at England, we've always had our chances, but we don't know how to win. We don't know how to get through that game. We didn't know how to beat Croatia when we should have beaten Croatia in that semi-final, and we didn't know how to beat Argentina all them years ago, and we didn't know how to beat Germany in the semi-finals. And you can look at each game that we failed at, and you can find reasons why we weren't clever enough. It's not always whether you're good enough; it's whether you're clever enough. And it's as much to do with the manager and the way he sets the team up as it is about the team on the pitch, I guess. And for whatever reason, this country struggles to get to that final hurdle. But you never know. I hope you're right.
I bet you did.
Good summer.
What have you got for us then to add to the accumulator?
Right. Well, I'm not going international. I'm going to stick with my domestic feed because I think it's getting quite interesting now. As you know, people that watch the podcast here, we've been following a few clubs for a few weeks now. Tranmere Rovers being one of them, and Burton being the other one. Burton not playing. This is a good story. Burton against Fleetwood is called off. Josh Parker has been called up to the Antigua and Barbuda team for their internationals, and Kieran O'Hara has been called up to the Republic of Ireland, as you probably know, and Terry Taylor is in for the Wales under-21s. So it's quite cool that you've got a League One side or League One game that's being called off because of international call-ups. It's always it's a good thing to see. Torquay used to have an international called Rodney Jack, who used to play for one of the islands out there. And it was always good that we may get a game called off because we got an international in our ranks. But no Burton this week. However, looking at League Two and looking at the betting to win the league of League Two at the moment, Cheltenham are 10 to 11. Second favourites are Cambridge and Forest Green Rovers, and then you've got Tranmere around about the 6 to 1 mark. Although I think Cheltenham are a bit bigger than that actually. I think Forest Green Rovers about 4 to 1, Tranmere about 6 to 1, and Cambridge a little bit bigger, about 8 to 1. And yet Cambridge is second, Cheltenham are top, Forest Green are third, Tranmere are fourth. But this weekend, it's very, very close in this league. Okay, you've got Morecambe, who are sixth, are playing Cheltenham, who are first, and Morecambe are 25 to 1 to win the league, and Cheltenham are 10 to 11 to win the league. So there's a massive price difference, and yet there's only 6 points between them. If Morecambe were to beat Cheltenham, there'd be a 3-point gap between the pair of them. And 25 to 1 is interesting. But I don't think Morecambe will win the league. So we've got Morecambe against Cheltenham. So we've got 6th against 1st. We've got Forest Green Rovers against Bolton. So we've got 3rd against 5th. We've got Exeter against Salford, 8th against 9th. Carlisle against Cambridge. Carlisle, remember a few weeks ago, they were odds-on favourites, had loads of games in hand. They were going to win the league. They're now 12th against Cambridge, that are second. And we've got Tranmere, who are fourth, playing Mansfield, that are 18th. Okay, so when we break it down, don't want to get involved in Forest Green against Bolton. Don't want to get involved with Exeter and Salford. Cambridge have a guy called Wes Houlihan, who's about, I don't know, he's quite an old guy. He's not played in midweek. If you go and track Cambridge's games, they don't win in the midweek, but they win at the weekend. He doesn't play in the midweek. He only plays at the weekends. And last week, he was head and shoulders above everybody else against Forest Green, and they beat them 1-0. So I'm going to take Cambridge to beat Carlisle at Carlisle. It's about 15-8, so nearly 2-1 on that game there. So Carlisle have lost the last two games. Cambridge have won the last two games because they're not playing midweek games anymore. So we've got Cambridge to beat Carlisle, and Tranmere are fourth, Mansfield at 18th. So again, we've got to be looking at Tranmere. We want Tranmere to be winning. We need them to be in that top three. We want to collect on our 50-1 that we got earlier on in the season. So we're gonna keep supporting Tranmere. Mansfield, for their part, they've recently drawn with Forest Green, Grimsby, and Carlisle, and they've lost to Crawley, and they even beat Cheltenham. So they're no mugs. Yeah, so they're a good side. But they are 18th in the league, whereas Tranmere have beaten Newport, lost to Crawley, beat Southend, drew with Grimsby, beat Exeter, and drew with Colchester in the week. And they were 2-0 down to Colchester. So they've got a little bit of fight in them. So I'm going to take Tranmere at 29-20 and Cambridge to beat Carlisle.
Yeah, I think Tranmere are a bit like Cambridge. They don't really like them midweek games.
No, absolutely. Yeah.
I was watching the score for that Grimsby game, and I was watching the updates on Twitter, and they sounded like they were absolutely rubbish. Grimsby were on top of them, and I've seen a load of people putting up on Twitter Tranmere were real or accumulators and that. They were the most hated team of the day.
I tell you what, it's a weird. This midweek thing is a weird phenomenon. You look at League One, you look at Peterborough. Peterborough were going fantastic, and then they got beat 3-1. They were 1-0 down to Blackpool inside 6 minutes. And I know Blackpool are going well, but Peterborough, they're going for the title. They go for the league, and they've had a fantastic run. There's something about midweek games where the bigger teams seem to just get beat. And also, I was looking at the patterns for the top three. So if I looked at Cheltenham, Cambridge, and Forest Green, and none of them have won, or all three of them have not won on the same date in the last 5 games, and yet they're like the top 3 sides in the league. And you would expect at some point that they probably all would have won on the same day, but they haven't. I don't know whether it's because it's a competitive league or whether they do struggle in the midweek because they're tired or whatever it is. But something very strange is going on. But again, the market, given how close these sides are together, points-wise, like I said, if Morecambe beat Cheltenham, they're only 3 points behind them. If Morecambe beat Cheltenham and Carlisle beat Cambridge and Bolton beat Forest Green, if Tranmere win, they'll be on the same points as Cheltenham at the top of the table. It's an interesting time, and we're going to get into April, which is going to be the last full month. There's a couple of games in May, but last full month of the season, and it's going to be interesting to see how that league plays out. Particularly, Tranmere have got to play Forest Green, Cambridge, and Cheltenham in the next month and a bit. So we've still got a chance.
Yeah, and Martin, next week we will put up, I suppose, our final selections of who we think is going to finish top of each of the leagues, the top 4, maybe even including conference. I suppose we might as well do that and see how big of a price we can get for the 5 teams or 4 teams. Yeah. And so that is the accumulator. What price are Tranmere?
Tranmere are 29-20. So again, they're odds against to beat Mansfield at 18th in the league. it's a weird phenomenon this season. You'd expect a team fourth in the league playing 18th in the league probably to be odds on tomorrow.
Yeah, you would, like, if it was in any other league, it would be like.
Yeah.
We will move on to the value bet of the week. And Martin, now you know I am a fan of basketball.
I do.
So for my value bet, I am dipping my toe into the NBA. And as you probably know, the Pelicans are my go-to team. And this is a bet, right, that continually comes up almost every time they play. It's a bet builder now, but if I'll say what needs to go into the bet builder. So pretty much you need Steven Adams over 6.5 points and 7.5 rebounds. Zion Williamson over 22.5 points and 4.5 rebounds. And Brandon Ingram over 19.5 points. Them 5 selections in a bet builder is 11-4. And this bet comes up a lot more than you would think it would. It's free money. That's the way I look at it. More than often than not, like. But yeah, they're playing tonight at midnight. This video should be up, and hopefully they can pull off that, and we'll be celebrating an 11-4 winner.
Yeah, we'll all be collecting our cash in the morning.
Hopefully. What have you got for us?
Right, well, I'm gonna go to the golf. We've got the WGC Dell Match Play on at the moment over there in the States. We've had some fantastic golf over the last couple of weeks. We've had Lee Westwood playing in the last group in the last 2 big tournaments. He's currently 33-1 to win the match play. You get quarter of the odds, 4 places. Seems like a thing to go and have a little bash at. And another one I'll throw in there is Jordan Spieth. I'm not a Jordan Spieth fan by any stretch of the imagination. However, he hasn't won a tournament in a couple of years now, but he's just starting to come back to form. He's starting to finish sort of top 10, and maybe a bit of match play is just what he needs to kickstart this season and get things going. And he's available at 20-1. So Lee Westwood or Jordan Spieth to pick up the Dell Match Play over there in Texas. The last round I think is Sunday. I think it's on Sunday.
Yeah, I've actually been following that a little bit myself. John Rahm is doing very well. I think. What price do you know of?
Yeah, he's a 7-1 favourite. So a little bit skinny for me for throwing out here. But there's no reason to put you off John Rahm at 7-1. Absolutely not. He's a fantastic player. He's been world number 1, but I don't think he's won a major yet. But he's going to win a major, and he's going to win a lot of majors. He's a fantastic golfer. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins the Masters in a couple of weeks there, because it's his sort of course. Plays well there. I've just seen he's gone all square in his match at the moment, so his price has just popped out a little bit. But yeah, I wouldn't put you off John Rahm, or indeed Dustin Johnson, who is the Masters champion at the moment. He's another one that is coming back to a little bit of form as well. So again, match play is a slightly different format and maybe a bit more interesting sometimes to watch because it's like a head-to-head thing. So yeah. It's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, there definitely has been some cracking golf going on. There was actually a really good tournament there in Kenya. It went to a 3-hole playoff. The first 2 holes in playoff were tied, and then the last one, your boy that won it, Van Taylor, I think his name was.
Yeah.
South African fella. He hit his last shot nearly right to the pin. It was a phenomenal shot, and gave the Thai fella absolutely no chance. You mentioned Spieth there. He's usually bang there, isn't he, without winning?
He is. I mean, it was interesting at the Players' Championship. He was there for a couple of rounds, and then he kind of faded on the last day. And Justin Thomas came through, another guy who's been world number 1 but hasn't had the best of times for a couple of years. came through and was immaculate on the back nine and won by a couple of strokes in the end from can't remember the guy's name. Gone. The American guy that hits it like 500.
What I love about golf is all these big names are such.
DeChambeau, DeChambeau.
Bryson DeChambeau, yeah.
Yeah, he's like bulked himself up, hits the ball a million miles, but I think the skill of Justin Thomas beat the power of DeChambeau at the Players' Championship. So yeah, I don't see him in the betting, so I'm guessing he either didn't turn up or he went home early.
Yeah. Has anything happened in the news this week or the past few weeks that we haven't covered?
I don't know. I mean, this week has been a sort of catch-up week following Cheltenham last week, because Cheltenham's always so intense for the 4 days. I've kind of like took it easy for a week. England won the cricket today. They won a one-day today against India with a fantastic chase. I know you're not the biggest cricket fan in the world. Stokes was on 50, and 11 balls later he was on 99, and he was out for 99 as it goes. But he basically won the game for us. So that's 1-1, and the final game's on Sunday. So if you want some nice sedate cricket, then Sunday's your place. I can't really think of anything else. As I said, I've just been sort of chilling out, getting over Cheltenham, getting ready for the start of the flat season in the UK tomorrow.
I was doing that last week with the start of flat season in Ireland. Anything else happened that I can't think of off the top of my head anyway. Cheltenham obviously just dominated, really, didn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
For the two of us, anyway, it did. 1-100 challenge, Martin. Have you got anything?
Right. Well, my last 1-100 about a couple of weeks ago now was Norwich to win at 2-5, and they won. They duly won for me. So I'm on my second leg, and I'm going to take Hull at home to beat Gillingham. Not an easy game, but Hull are top, and they should be kicking on and winning this league now. Again, we'll talk more about it next week when we look at the teams that are going to go up or win the leagues and what have you. But they've got to beat Gillingham tomorrow, surely.
You'd imagine so, anyway. I wasn't so lucky, I don't think, anyway. I can't really remember, to be honest. It's been that while, been that long. But I'm just going to say I'm going to start with a fresh slate. And I am going to take Callum Robinson to score any time against Luxembourg at 7-4.
Okay.
I think that's gonna be my first one off the mark anyway.
And let's get ourselves up to 100.
We'll be here for many years before we get there. Anything else to add, Martin?
I don't think so. I think that'll do us today. I think. Like I say, there's some domestic football, international football, flat season, the golf, the cricket. So lots of opportunities for a lot of sport this weekend. Obviously, be careful with your gambling. Be gamble aware and all the other bits and bobs. And have a good time.
Absolutely, 100%, Martin. That's it. Be sure to click the subscribe button down below, and we'll be back for next week where we'll have that, I suppose, segment of who we think are going up in each of those. Right.